Hello traders and investors, welcome back to the Trend Trader channel. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the recent result that came from Tesla. A lot of you are familiar with Tesla. It's one of the EV manufacturers. It's based in US. It is listed in Nasdaq in the New York Security Exchange. So if you go to the Tesla website, under menu you will find investor relations. Then from investor relations, you will see all the information that Tesla has released. What we are looking at this moment, we are looking at the Q1 result of 2023. So this day came on April 19. There are different kinds of documents that you can look at. We are just looking at the press release. Again, the press release is a big comprehensive document. So instead of looking at that big document, we're just going to look at the summary of the result. And the result, the summary of those results, we are getting it from one of the graphics that is created by the Economy app. You can check them on Twitter. So they do these nice graphics which sort of summarizes the kind of information that we are looking for. In this case, we are looking for the Q1 of financial year 2023. We are looking at that income statement. Basically, the income statement shows us how the money came in and everything, how that money ended up, whether it's a net profit or it's a net loss for a company. Remember, personally, I prefer to invest in companies that shows a net profit, but not all companies show a net profit, and also not all investors are looking for net profit. So when you look at this income statement, we can see that Tesla had an income or a revenue of about 23.3 billion. So that is a 24% increase year on year. So if we compare Q1 of 2022, that is the increase of 24%. We can see where the money came from. 18 billion or about 19 billion came from auto sales, and then there are other business aspects of Tesla, such as credit, leasing, energy generation and storage, and services. Then we can see that the big chunk of that income, it came from auto. So in this case, they combined the auto sales, the credit and the leasing, which brought in altogether 20 billion. And then there's the addition that came from energy generation and storage, and also from services. But the number that is important is the revenue, how much the revenue came in and how it is changing year on year. You can also compare it quarter on quarter if you're interested in that number. Then remember, revenue is just the money that came in. Their expenses, we can see that the cost of revenue is about 18.8 billion, which leaves Tesla with a gross profit of 4.5 billion, which reflects about a 20% margin. From there, we see there's operating expenses, which makes about 1.8 billion. And the stock is left with operating profit. Remember, this is a pre-tax profit, because you can see here now they have subtracted that tax amount that they pay to the IRS. And also, since the company has cash and cash equivalents, they also sometimes receive interest. So you can see that 200 million there that is coming from interest. Overall, Tesla ended up with a profit of 2.5 billion, which represent about 11% margin when we look at it at year on year. So at the end of the day, these are good, promising results. On paper, we can see that the company is growing its revenue year on year, and at the end of the day, it ends with a net profit. Again, I prefer to invest in companies that have a net profit. All companies won't always have net profit. There will be some companies that show decent setups, technical setups, but the fundamental aspect of it is not there. So then we can be a bit lenient and look into those companies. And then lastly, Tesla reported the car deliveries for that previous quarter. They reported around just over 400,000. You can see that these values are in millions. So this is 0.4 million. So that is about 400 million cars that were delivered in Q1 of 2023. You can see that there is an increase in the number of cars that Tesla delivers per quarter. So that is something that is promising, because in an ideal scenario, every car that is delivered, the bank or the buyer should have paid for it. But when you look at the operating cash flow, there's a lot of things that are changing. One thing that is important is to look at is the net income. You can see we focus on that blue. You can see that there was that nice increase in the operating income, and then there was a decline, a bit of recovery, and for the first quarter we are down. But when you compare quarter on quarter, Tesla is actually having a higher net income when you compare it based on the previous quarter, or Q1 of 2022. But based on the previous quarter, there is that decline there. That is, they reported that there is a decline in net income if you compare quarter on quarter. So that is something that other people might be worried about. It depends, again, the kind of information that you're looking for. So then here we are looking at the trailing 12 months. So everything is compared year on year. You can see that since Q2 2020, Tesla delivered just below 400,000 cars. Then it has been increasing to over 1.4 million cars that have been delivered since the second quarter of 2020. So that is not to say, what we see here is that the number of cars that Tesla is able to deliver, it keeps on increasing. But remember that different models, they keep on producing different models that people are interested in. Again, when we look at the net income, which is blue, we see that there's that nice steady increase, and then there's that decline in the first quarter of 2023. But this is just for the first quarter, so we will see how the stock is going to perform going forward for the other remaining quarters. So fundamentally, you can see that the stock does bring in some money home, just about 2.5 billion. If a stock is profitable, we can expect the stock to pay a dividend. But when you look at this, you can see that there is nothing that talks about a dividend declaration. We are not saying that Tesla is not going to pay a dividend, but that information is missing here. So we don't see where that information is coming from. And then if you want to look deeper into the numbers, you can just look at the statement of operations, which is like the income statement of Tesla. Instead of looking at these graphics, you can just look at the values, you can compare them quarter on quarter. By quarter on quarter, I'm talking about the first quarter of 2022, or you can compare the current quarter with the previous quarter. And that is where especially the decline is noticeable, because you see, for Q4 2022, they brought in about 20.2 billion, but now there's that reduction to 18.9 billion. So that one is clear. But if you compare Q1 2023 with Q1 2022, you see that there's an increase in revenue, because in 2022 it was 15.5 billion and now it's 18.9 billion. So all that information is there. We always talk about earnings per share. That is a metric that is important. I always focus on the basic earnings per share, because, well, the truth is I don't understand what is the diluted earnings per share. So now when you look at the basic earnings per share, we can see that in this quarter, each share earned about 80 cents. So that is a reduction when you compare it year on year in terms of quarter and the recent quarter. In December, it was about $1.18, now it's 80 cents. So there is a reduction in earnings per share. Okay, so there's a lot of other information that you can look at to find more information. We can look at the chart of Tesla. Now what is clear, I guess everybody can see that there was this price decline. When you look at Tesla, you can see that the share price was declining. It attempted to bottom somewhere around $100 per share. The stock attempted to trade up. We posted several videos where we had a position, but now you can see that the stock found resistance at this level. So now it has been trying, or it has been trading lower since then. This is now a key area of interest. We want to see whether the stock is going to bounce to come back to just somewhere around $200, or if the stock is going to break below this level and then come back to this low. there are plenty of possibilities. If you look at the current level of 167, it coincides with this level in here. So now this whole area is an area of interest for us. What we want to see how the stock is going to behave around this area. Remember, when it comes to trend line, you shouldn't focus on the trend line being perfect. You should just try to see the picture, any picture that you're trying to paint for yourself. So now this is our area of interest with regards to Tesla. Basically, what we want to see is Tesla going to find support and bounce up, which will be a sign of recovery. That is a move that most investors will prefer to see. Or if Tesla is going to trade lower and come to retest this level. So that's it with regards to Tesla Q1 of financial year 2023 earnings summary, and also looking at the chart, trying to find the path of least resistance so that we can identify potential trade opportunities. So this is the end of the video. I would like to ask those who haven't subscribed to please consider subscribing, and if you found value in this video, please make sure that you smash the like button. We will see you on the next video.